Last week I made an announcement about a permanent deacon candidate, Bruce Weary. I thought, why not talk a little bit about what actually is a permanent deacon? We see Deacon Paul up on the altar. Sometimes people will even make comments like, who's the other priest up there? Well, he's not actually a priest. He actually is a deacon, right? So there's 3 different levels of holy orders. The first is the diaconate, the second is priesthood, and the third is being a bishop. So even I was ordained a deacon and served as a deacon for a year. We call that, though, the transitional deacon, meaning that they're transitioning from being a deacon to being a priest. That's why we use the word permanent to describe a different kind of deacon, like Deacon Paul. That means that he is permanently a deacon, that there's no plans of the church to ordain him as a priest. I suppose it could maybe happen in some extraordinary circumstances. But that's the difference between a transitional and a permanent deacon. Now, deacons go back a long ways in the life of the church. We read about them in the first centuries, particularly the deacons that were around the Pope. They had some very important responsibilities, such as Deacon Lawrence, who kept the treasury, right? He was the famous one who when the Romans captured him and they wanted all the riches of the church, he went out and gathered all of the poor people and he brought them and he said, here are our riches. What a beautiful kind of testament to the heart of the church, who really sees her people, especially the poor and the outcast, as being her riches. So yes, so this tradition of having deacons serve is very important. We read about it in the first book of Acts of the Apostles, don't we? So in the Acts of the Apostles, it speaks about how the apostles are becoming, in a sense, I suppose, exhausted trying to do all these different things. And so it says, no, let us assign deacons. And so they ordained deacons. So we know some of them, like Deacon Philip, who went and baptized the eunuch. We think of the first martyr, right? The first deacon martyr was one of this group as well. So anyway, Saint Stephen is that first martyr who we celebrate the day after Christmas. So deacons have this kind of special role of serving. So you see this at Mass, for instance, how the deacon serves the priest, doing different things. It's a special responsibility in a sense of communicating to the people at a Mass. And so you'll sometimes maybe see a deacon giving actions, whether we should sit or stand, things such as that. He's the one who properly reads the prayers of the faithful, because he has this special connection between you, the parishioners, and then gathering those prayers up and offering them to God. There's always been also a special sense of how deacons take care of the poor and the needy in different ways. So that's kind of a certain role as well. That's, in a sense, why Deacon Lawrence had the treasury and why he knew the poor, because he was responsible for helping them with the different monies that came in. Deacons, as you know, can preach, they can marry people, they can baptize, different things like this. Deacon Paul, for instance, is definitely engaged in so many different activities in the parish, like bringing communion to the sick. He, like myself, are what's called an ordinary minister of Holy Communion, meaning that we're given this beautiful gift to give Jesus to other people in an ordinary way. We don't need special permission from the bishop to do so, like extraordinary ministers of the Holy Communion that we sometimes use at our Masses as well. So anyway, that's a little bit more about the permanent diaconate.